Okay, let's be honest here for a minute. Aging can feel pretty scary. Things change, sometimes very unexpectedly. You wake up one morning and your joints feel stiffer than they used to. You gain weight without really understanding why, because you didn't change your eating or exercising habits. You walk into a room and completely forget what you went in there for. You sleep all night long and still wake up feeling like you've never gotten enough sleep. If any of this sounds familiar to you, you are certainly not alone. In fact, I was talking with one of my students recently, and she mentioned the unexpected weight gain that seemed to happen almost overnight. She hadn't changed much, but her body felt different. I think one of the biggest mistakes people make when talking about healthy aging is jumping straight into solutions before acknowledging what people are actually experiencing. Because before we talk about what to do, we have to acknowledge how many people are feeling frustrated, confused, discouraged, sometimes even a little scared. The truth is, our bodies do change. Hormones change, recovery changes, life changes. Pretending otherwise isn't helpful. But I also don't believe that aging and decline are the same thing. And that's a distinction worth talking about. So a few years ago, I woke up one morning with my pointer finger hurting so badly, I couldn't straighten it. I couldn't put weight on it, which is a little concerning when you're teaching yoga classes for a living. I remember trying to demonstrate poses thinking, well, this is really inconvenient. My husband went to the store and bought me a finger splint. I wore it, and I wore it, and I wore it. Nothing changed. My finger, it still hurt. And I remember wondering, what is happening to me? Eventually, I was talking with a friend who's about 10 years older than I am. I described what was going on. And she said, "Oh, you mean trigger finger?" I said, "What?" She said, "Trigger finger." Now, I had heard the term before, but I thought trigger finger had something to do with guns in action movies. Not me, not my hand, and definitely not on my average Tuesday morning. She explained what it was, and I remember thinking, now, wait just a minute here. Shouldn't this be common knowledge? Shouldn't somebody have told us this was a thing? And that's when something clicked for me. My finger didn't magically get better because I learned what trigger finger was, but something did change. I stopped assuming something terrible was happening. I had context. I understood what was going on. And I think that's true for a lot of aging processes. Sometimes understanding comes before the solutions. Sometimes what people need first isn't another exercise program or another supplement or another quick fix or another empty promise. Sometimes they need someone to say, yes, that can happen. No, you're not the only one. And here's what we know about it. Because when we don't understand what's happening inside our bodies, it's easy to assume the worst. But when we understand what's happening, fear often gives way to curiosity. And curiosity is a much better place to begin. That's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about functional movement and what I like to call body literacy. Not because I think everyone needs to become an anatomy expert, but because I think understanding your body changes your relationship with your body. Understanding reduces fear. Knowledge creates options. Options create confidence, and confidence changes how we move through the world. When we talk about healthy aging, I think we spend too much time focusing on what we're losing and not enough time focusing on what we're still capable of building. We can build strength. We can build balance. We can build mobility. We can build coordination. We can build resilience. We can build movement, confidence. And perhaps most importantly, we can build a better understanding of ourselves. Healthy aging isn't about pretending that nothing changes. Healthy aging is about learning which changes we actually have influence over. Because there are so many things that we can't control, but there are also so very many things that we can. And that's where the power lives. Not in denying reality, not in fighting aging, but in participating in the process. Learning, adapting, growing, continuing to build capacity for the life that you want to live. I think that's a much more empowering story, don't you? And it's one that I think more people want to hear because you're not powerless. Your body, it's still listening. It's still adapting. It's still responding to the choices that you make every day. And that means there is far more possibility ahead of you than you may realize. So, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you're subscribed because over the next several weeks, we're going to be diving into some of the movement qualities that matter most as we age, including balance, strength, mobility, coordination, adaptability, and so much more. And if you'd like a simple place to get started, I've put together a free functional movement home toolkit guide that includes some of my favorite tools, props, and resources for improving strength, balance, mobility, and movement confidence at home. You can grab it using the link below. So, until next time, keep moving, keep learning, and remember, understanding your body may be one of the most powerful things you can do for your future self. I'll see you next time.